Good evening. My name is Jenna Brownson, and this is the August 3rd meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. This is our first official televised meeting, and we are very pleased that we are also among the other boards that have the opportunity to come into your homes and into your living rooms. For those of you who are watching on a delay feed, thank you for tuning in. And for those of you who are with us right now, we are looking forward to giving you a terrific presentation of a library board of trustee meetings. For the record, if you ever do want to come, we always have cookies or some other snacks. So we do have a couple of young ladies here with us tonight, and in keeping with tradition, would you like a cookie?
I just had dinner, thank you.
All right, then. All right, so starting off with our meeting, public participation is the first thing that we engage in. And we have with us two young women who will be headed off to college. And they are here because they have worked diligently as volunteers to our library over the past year. And they are here to hear about the receipt of their scholarships in thanks for all the work they did for the library. Would you each like to, I wonder how we can do this. I wonder if you came up closer, I wonder if that camera could pick you up so that you could just briefly introduce yourself and tell us what you're doing with your lives. Oh, there you are, fine. You don't have to scoot up. So would you go first? Go ahead, tell us who you are.
I'm Kayla Palmer. I'm going to Franklin Pierce University for elementary education.
Excellent, congratulations. So you're starting when?
I move in August 26th.
Congratulations, it's lovely. Hey. And?
I'm Diana Kumikova. I'm going to Worcester Polytechnic. I'm in undeclared engineering right now, so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Move in on the 20th.
Terrific, terrific. Are you the oldest in each of your families?
Youngest.
Youngest?
Second child.
Second child, okay. So you're leaving your house empty to the grown-ups?
Well, there's grandkids.
Oh, that's nice. All right, very good. So, thank you again for the work that you did. We heard lovely things from the staff about how much you were helpful to them. And we as a board need to officially follow up on what we had talked about back when you came to apply, back in September or October of last year. So a lot has happened for both of you since then. So, was this something you wanted to?
Do you want to, does Sam or Helen have this out, or Helen have any comments on their work?
No matter what we pay them, it could never be enough for the fact that they show up all the time, and we can depend on them. And the dependability is something you can't put a price on. So thank you, guys.
Yes, they've both been very helpful to us, especially with some staff issues we've had the past couple months with accidents and so forth. So they've been really helpful, and we really appreciate all the work they did for us. Kayla and Deanna, they've pretty much done all the hours they were asked to do, and they've done a great job.
Great,
So thank you very
terrific.
much.
Thank you. All right, that being said,
So you want me to make a motion?
I would
do
like
that?
you to make a motion.
So I would make a motion that we give them each $1,750 from the MMDT account in a scholarship.
Any discussion on the amount of $1,750 for each
If there was
scholarship?
a motion, I'll second it.
And there's been a second by David. Any discussion? No? Okay. All in favor of granting both of these wonderful helpers to the library a $1,700 scholarship, and thanks for all the work you did, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It is unanimous. Congratulations. And with respect to getting said giant check.
I will speak to Susan, and she'll submit an invoice to the town.
Okay.
And you should expect it in a few weeks, a couple weeks. It'll be
Alright.
mailed to your house.
Okay, congratulations. Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for all the work you did. And if you happen to know any friends who are library lovers who would be entering their senior year, either in Littleton or any other school that a Littleton student might be going to, please let them know. We will be posting information about how to apply. So if you know someone, point them in our direction. Thanks. Thank you. Good luck at college. Have fun. Okay, so moving on to our next bit on the agendas.
Stay if you want to.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay,
Say yes.
but you can go. Would you like a cookie?
I'll take
Well,
one.
now
Yeah, there you go.
I have
Look at-
kids on.
It's still, I think it's still warm. I just finished
Okay,
making
if they're
them.
warm, then I have to.
They're molasses.
Okay.
And thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your first year to you guys.
Yeah.
Niece and nephew. They'll be happy.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Do you buy these or make them?
I make those. Those are vegan as well.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Vegetarian. I guess.
All right, ladies. Bye. Thank
Have a good
you.
night.
You as well. Okay, item number 2 on our agenda is correspondence. Are we in receipt of any correspondence?
Yes, we received a letter from the Mass Board of Library Commissioners informing us that we have received the Mass Construction Grant. Well, we've been waitlisted, and we're number 5 out of 24 on the list for a provisional grant amount of $5,844,747. That's it. I'll speak a little bit more about that later on. in the agenda.
Very good news that we are,
So,
that we are about to potentially be given $5.8 million. It's fantastic. It's really great. Oof. It's a lot of commas in that number. That's great. Terrific. Thank you for all the hard work that you did to get us through on the first application. I'm sure that there were probably some folks who had to do it over or enhance it or,
I guess, I'm not sure.
yeah, okay, all right. Thank you. All right, any other correspondence?
That was it.
I thought the letter announcing 5.8 million? Yes, okay, that should be plenty. All right, next item on the agenda, we need to approve the minutes from our June 1st meeting and our June 23rd meeting. Sorry, June
Second.
2nd meeting.
I have it wrong in the agenda.
That's no problem. Okay. All right then, with respect to the Thursday, June 2nd, 2017 minutes, are there any corrections or amendments to what has been recorded? Okay.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Both sets? One set or both sets?
Well,
Well, we were just looking
you
at the
just
first
asked
one.
about the second. So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of Thursday, June 2nd, 2017.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Okay then, and now glancing at the Friday, June 23rd meeting that we had. Okay, so any corrections, edits that need to be done?
All right, I'll make a motion to
Very good,
accept
that's all right, you weren't
the
there,
meetings
that's
of
okay.
June 23rd,
Second.
2017.
Okay, seconded by Mark, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay then, thank you. The treasurer's report, that would be David.
Okay, so you all have a copy of the Bartholomew report, okay? Which may or may not speak for itself. Anyway, I would like to report that this number is from June 30th, which is the latest one that I have, because we did not have a July meeting. Our MMDT balance is $6,880.39. That was as of June 30th. And we're always a month behind on the report, just because of the timing of it. Six, eight, 68, 80, 39.
Okay.
So I've been having discussions with Steve Venuti about the fundraising effort and the building and the Bartholomew accounts. And I don't know if you want it brought up under treasurer's report or one of these later things, but since it all goes together.
I think now makes sense. We're looking at the numbers.
So, one of the Bartholomew accounts are all invested basically in stock and whatnot. So we're subject to the whims of the market. With the library building project being number 5 on the wait list, we're probably fairly early on the wait list, and I've had discussions with Steve about potentially cashing out a couple of the Bartholomew accounts and putting them into a new MMDT account, basically, so we could have an MMDT building fund account, which he agreed was a good idea, or something that we should be doing.
Okay.
Right. So that will help us, so instead of being subject to the fluctuations of the stock market, we'll just earn interest, so.
Sure, yeah.
My suggestion is we take at least the last 2 accounts, the 403, the general contributions, and the 404, the building fund, and move those over.
That being $258,000?
Effectively, yeah. And move that into an MMDT account. We could move more over if we want, like the Houghton fund that's above that, the 80,000 is also it's also kind of general contributions that all
Right.
came in through our donations. But I did move at least those 2, if not those 3. We can potentially also spend the Second Century Fund for a building if we want, but that wasn't actually raised by this group of trustees. That
Yes.
came from the fundraising effort that was done in the late 90s.
Right. Do you remember, or does anyone here know what the Second Century Fund's mission was? And why the funds were collected and under what auspices?
I do not remember. It was part of the apple tree and the,
It was part of the Vin Cooper Charitable Foundation.
Okay.
I don't know what the intent was of it, would have to ask Marnie, should probably know. But it was money that Vin Cooper set up, sort of like you're doing right now and having a match, and people gave to it. And he also sold little booklets and had them published, and all that money also went into the Second Century Fund. So, I think it was like 91 or 2.
it was around, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It might have been later than that, because we moved to town in 97, or 95.
And you remember it?
And we've got our name up on the apples, so.
Oh. So, toward the end of the 20th century, it was looking toward the second century, that is, the 21st century. So, Katie, you already have your booklets over here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, then, so my feeling about it is that anyone who donated to the Second Century Fund might have been doing it with an eye for it to go to a particular place if it was pitched that way. And I think we should check on that before we vote to move it, if that's acceptable to the board.
So there, yeah, and I should say that we can spend the money later if we so choose, when we build, when the new library is built.
Yep.
This is just moving the money out of the stock market to something safer.
Right.
Right.
Despite the fact the stock market is basically at a record high and has been, strangely enough, for the last little while.
Right, so you're subject to it not being at a record high any day now.
Any day now, yes, that's true.
So-
The only place to go is down at this point.
So.
All right, very good.
We can move either those 2 or those 3 funds And we just need to let Steve know, we need to make a motion, and I believe he'll set up a new a separate MMDT account for us with those funds in it.
Did Steve say anything about, well, if it's, between certain ranges, like up to $100,000 it earns 2%, 100,000 at 2,000 earns?
No, we didn't talk anything about
Okay.
earning what it earns. I assume.
Not much.
Oh, I assume it's thrown in with all the other town money. It's going to be, it's not, I mean, there's not really a budget here. We're
Oh,
talking-
okay, so the MMDT, in fact, is not library-specific. There's a big MMT.
It's Mass Municipal
Municipal-
Depository Trust. I mean,
Okay,
the
so
town
it's for
has
the whole
MMDT
town,
account.
and then when we draw off of our funds, it's just in a ledger to say what our funds are in there.
I'm not positive how they're actually set up, but
Okay, all right, well. But our town treasurer is of the opinion this would be a smart move.
yes.
Okay. Then I am of the opinion we should listen to the guy who works with money all day long. So, and then, so $258,000 would comprise Fund 403 and Fund 404, the general contributions and building fund respectively. Shall we also include Gertrude Houghton's $80,000 in that amount? Thoughts on that?
On Houghton?
The 402, the Gertrude Houghton Fund.
So I can give a little background on the Houghton Fund.
Oh, okay.
Gertrude Houghton was, she was killed in a car crash.
That's right.
And as part of her estate, she donated the money to the library for general purposes. So, some of the money in the general contributions fund also came from her. I think the Houghton Fund was like a secondary payment for a life insurance policy that we got much later than the
Yes.
original.
Yes, yes, yes.
So-
It was like in 2010 or 11?
I don't remember the exact date.
That was
The funds were given from her estate with no restrictions. And the policy we have currently written until we change it, said that if you gave more than $10,000, we'd create a named account for you.
Right.
A named endowment, but unless otherwise specified. Her will did not specify that it was an endowment, so it's
Yeah.
in one of these where we can spend it without preserving the principal.
Yes.
We also did check with her estate at the time, and it was fine to spend they were fine with us spending the whole amount. They didn't need it to be an endowment. So,
Okay. All right, so to include Gertrude Houghton's fund, named fund, it would bring the transfer amount to $338,000 to be specifically sectioned away with the eye toward putting that, in essence, from the trustees toward the new building. This is above and beyond any amount that would be raised by fundraising efforts, so.
And free it up from market fluctuation is
free
the
us up
idea.
from market fluctuations.
And free us up from market fluctuations.
Okay.
That's right.
So you want to do the three of them?
I'm comfortable with doing all three, especially because Steve Venuti has given his opinion on it being a worthwhile, thoughtful change.
I'm curious if the town votes to not go forward with a new building, since we're transferring these funds, will they stay in their new MMDT account, or do we move them back into the BART?
Seems to me like we would talk to Steve Venuti at the time about
I think we do.
what would be the best
We can-
thing to
yeah.
do.
So if the town didn't vote to go forward with the library, I would assume that we'll move them back.
Okay.
But what we're doing now is just taking away the risk, risk of the stock market. Assuming that the library's a few years out, we didn't want to put it in a safer bucket.
So 402 also? 402 also?
402, yes, 403 and 404.
Okay. And there was mention a few minutes ago about 401, but we have no conclusion on that one.
I think we'll leave 401 where it is for the
Okay.
moment.
All right. You want to make that a
Do you
motion?
want to make it, or you want me to make it?
You make the motion.
So I make a motion that we move the funds, the 402 Gertrude Houghton Fund, valued at $80,027.29 as of June 30th. 403 General Contributions, $202,715.42, and 404 the Building Fund, $55,311.15 to an MMDT Building Fund for a new library.
Second.
The only modification I would make is that whatever the value is in
Yes.
this.
Their
in
current
this
value
their
as
current
of-
value, but
Their value,
this is an estimate.
yes, the values I was giving are their value as of 6:30.
Right, okay.
So their values as of today could be very different.
On the, did you say 404, was that the last?
Yes, the building fund.
All right. Yep. You got a copy of that, right?
I do, but I just want to make sure.
We're going to move the entire amount of those three funds into a new MMDT building fund.
Okay.
And that amount is approximately 338,000. Okay. Did someone second it? I thought
Yes, it was seconded.
Okay, all
I
right.
did.
All in favor to move approximately $338,000 from 402, 403, and 404 into a new MMD account, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Thank you, David. Thank you, Mark. Okay. Next on the
It's an
agenda.
MMDT.
He's going to create a new bill.
Different one, okay.
Next on the agenda is the library building project. We will turn to our director to give us some more good news on top of a $5.8 million present.
So, as I mentioned in the letter, it mentions that we are waitlisted. We're number 5 out of 24 on the list. We received a provisional grant of $5,844,747. Right now, the total estimated project costs are $13,179,554, with total eligible cost at $12,137,147. So, originally in our grant application, we had put that it was 5.966233, and that was because it included the lead certification amount of $116,985, which will be applied after the building is built, if it is built.
So the number that we shared with the public, the $5,966,000.
Right.
What's in the letter is $5,844,000.
44.
But if we become LEED certified, which is the plan,
Right.
we will be reimbursed
At least 116,000.
at least 116. So it actually ends up being more money
Right.
through the reimbursement
Right.
than less. Oh, well, that's very good news. Okay, thank you.
Okay. And I did ask MBLC how much they've allotted for this grant round. They're allotting $110 million for this grant round. They currently have some libraries that have already received the provisional grant. There are 9 libraries. And some libraries from the previous grant round are also being funded out of this account. So that accounts to about $70 million. So that leaves $40 million available. So we're number 5. So MBLC thinks it's a pretty good chance we'll get funded with this grant sometime in the future.
Meaning the money is already put aside,
Right.
earmarked, and saved.
Right. So the way MBLC does it is that they they don't give all the libraries the money at the same time, and even the certain grant rounds, they don't pay off all the libraries at the same time. So they're paying off from the last grant round, and they're going to pay off the second half of the 24 libraries in another grant round, just like they've always done. But they think that they can pay for the current library, our library project, if it passes with the current grant round, because there'll be $40 million available. And it's possible that the 9 libraries that have applied or received the grant might not pass at their town meeting.
Sure.
So that'll free up more money.
Okay.
It's more than likely that not all 9 libraries will pass.
Sure, okay. So the risk of being told down the road, sorry, we don't have any money, increases. It's good that we're number 5 of 24 and not 23 of 24, because 23 might be thinking we might not get funded
Right.
down the road.
Right.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. It's good to be number 5.
Yes.
Thank you.
Did they give you any indication, or do you have any feeling where number 5 puts us on the list, as in 2018, 2019?
So I did ask Lauren Starra if she thinks it'll be next year that we'll receive it. She said she doesn't think so. Asked her if she knows when. She said she can't tell me. So I don't know. It really depends.
We'll send her cookies.
That
Try
might
to
work.
convince her.
But she doesn't think it'll be next year, but that's no guarantee.
She doesn't think it'll be 2018? Is
No.
that what you think? Is that what you're taking, or fiscal year, or, I mean, did she?
Right, so it's done once every year. So next year, I thought we could possibly be told, okay, you have the money, now you have 6 months to go to town meeting.
Right.
So I asked her, do you think it'll be next year that we receive it, since
Right.
we're number 5?
Right.
And her response was, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So not November 2018 town meeting.
I don't want to say.
Based on her magical crystal
Right.
ball, she's
Right.
thinking it's not going to be then.
Right,
May could be a possibility?
it could be.
Could be, okay, all right.
It really depends on how many libraries
True.
that received it this year actually get funded, actually pass at their own town meeting, how much money the state gives them next year out of that chunk, because they don't give the whole 110 million to them at once. They give it to them in chunks. So
Right.
whatever they get for a chunk is how much they can spend.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, and the longer it gets extended, the more time the fundraising committee has
Right.
to vigorously pursue the generosity of people near and far who love the library.
Yeah.
I have one more quick. The 5.8 million that's the inflation-adjusted amount or non-inflation?
That's the,
That's the 2020 construction number?
yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on library building project? The fundraising committee report. I would like you to speak.
I didn't actually do a report, I apologize.
That's
for that.
okay. You
Yeah,
can sum it up.
I can sum it up. Fundraising committee moves forward. They have had, I believe, 3 meetings at this point. We have another meeting next week.
Okay.
Discussion is around looking at larger grants that we can apply for, that we are eligible for. Also looking at local donors that might be willing to look at sort of larger donations. And then also looking at a lot of smaller donations as well, so give an opportunity for everybody to really get involved in the fundraising. But certainly the out of the gate, looking at sort of the bigger opportunities.
Terrific.
But nothing specific and no specific targets yet, but sort of looking at the
Right.
lots of different candidates, that's not the wrong word, but lots of different
Benefactors.
benefactors.
There's
is a
the
good
word.
Yeah, possibilities.
Yeah. Okay, and just to update everyone on the, I think it was the 10th of July, was that Monday? I think Monday was the 10th. I went to the Board of Selectmen meeting to specifically ask about naming rights. We were under the impression that the Board of Selectmen have control over that sort of thing, and in having a discussion there, it seems as though there's no real policy that drives that. So they've asked us to give some thought to how we might structure that, and then to go back to them. And it really is not our thing. It's the fundraising committee's thing. So the fundraising committee met, when was that? That was just recently.
That was
Last week?
Last week or 2 weeks ago?
I think it was
Yeah, it was
last
last
week.
week.
So the fundraising committee met, Chris and I were there, Demetra was there. We did not have a quorum, so we did not post the meeting, but the 3 of us were there, and we listened to what the fundraising committee had to say with respect to their plans and their moving forward. So it was Jen Abrams, is that how you say her name? Sarah Rombacher and Judy Grandy, and Sam was there. So they are coming up with, in essence, a menu of objectives, especially for the larger donors. So if there were to be a $10,000 donation, dollar donation made for by this person, that person might have naming rights for a particular area of the library. So they are trying to come up with that menu, and it's my understanding on the 14th of August, Sarah Rombacher will be going, I imagine not alone, I think she'll bring some folks with her, to the Board of Selectmen to give them an idea of what that menu would look like. So I think it's important that we support their efforts, but they are really their own sort of machine. They're their own driving force. And Chris works with them. She's sort of the touch point. And I hope that the fundraising committee knows that through you, we can be as supportive as they would like us to be. So, great.
Could I add a couple things to that?
Yeah, of course.
So the fundraising committee is not a trustee-sponsored committee, right, as you said.
Right.
They're operating completely independently of us, but they basically are reporting back to us what their efforts are and how they're not going to go off and sell naming rights to a room without our permission on who can have the naming rights and how much.
Sure. Right.
They're operating with our guidance, but not under our
Command. Right.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So-
Yeah, all right, very good. Do you know when their meeting is next week?
Monday or Tuesday night? No, it's Tuesday night. I believe it's Tuesday night.
Thursday's the 8th?
I believe so.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Mr. Alvarez, have you a director's report, as
I
you
do.
always do?
Okay. So, as many of you know, the town is working on creating a new website. The library is included in that. I've met with the IT director, Nancy Glencross, and the company they're working with to design the site. We've given them a few ideas, the general direction we want to go. We've looked at other library websites and kind of said, okay, we like this, we don't like that. We've shared with them what we want to bring over from our current website. I've gone through the website and sort of cleaned out stuff to make it easier for the transition. We're going to meet again next week to discuss options. I think every town department is going to meet with them. So we each get like 30 minutes. So we're going to meet with them and talk a little more. And I think they plan to go live in either late September or early October. So we still have some time to work on it. It's a long process.
Will you have the ability to do whatever you'd like after it's up? I mean, you'll be able to post.
Yeah, we'll be able to edit it.
And edit.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
actually have a lot more freedom with how we can edit it. Right now, I can really only edit the center of our current website, and then the bookends. We sort of have to ask them to do it for us, but now we'll be able to really edit whatever we want.
And that's something you feel comfortable with?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah, I like
All
that.
right, good.
Okay.
Because none of us old people here, not Dimitri's young.
The staff continues to learn our new ILS software called Symphony from Cersei Dynex. Depending on the day, sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't. There's still a lot of bugs that MVLC is working with them to fix, and they've been offering a lot of training sessions. So we're learning it slowly, but we're learning it. Pretty soon, the library will provide digital access to the New York Times.
That's
That was
great.
a request from some patrons, so I've signed a contract. They told me that it'll be, so there's two different versions of it. There's one that's available from the library's IP address. So if you come into the library, you just have to log in with your username and password. That's going to go live at 5 a.m. tomorrow, so I'm going to set it up.
Is the library open at 5 a.m. tomorrow? Oh.
And then there's another version where you can log in from home, and there's pretty much a limit of 10,000 people that can log in at any one time. So they say they've never reached that amount. So we'll see.
We're going to crash the New York
Right.
Times website.
So
Log in from home and get access to everything?
yeah,
That's-
so when you log in, you'll be able to log in. There's no paywall. You'll be able to use it. Yeah, it's good for 24 hours, and then you'll have to log in again the next day.
And
Wow.
we will have access to that day's newspaper.
Yes, and the whole
Last
archive,
years.
and also the archive of.
Maybe they're like a
In the archives?
day
And the
delayed.
archives, yeah.
And you will do this through your account with the library?
Yeah, you go to our website, there'll be a link there that I'm gonna put up there soon. And then you just go through the link, you have to create an account. You can create it however you want, either through your email address or through Facebook, if you have
Yeah.
Facebook. And then you just log in.
Super. How expensive
It
is
is
this?
$1,128 annually. And the friends have
Short
said
money.
that they will pay for it, or they've asked me to bring it to them. They haven't met yet.
The friends have.
Yeah.
They are very friendly friends,
They
aren't
are
they?
very friendly
They are
friends.
very good friends to us. Wow, that's awesome.
We have an online magazine database called Zinio. I don't know if any of you use it, but we've added some new titles to it. The New Yorker, Vanity Fair, New York Magazine, The English Garden, Men's Journal, Wired Magazine, HDTV Magazine, GQ, and Mother Jones. So that's all available from, again, our website. You can log in with your library card to use it.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a reason why these specific magazines are now available?
Because I added them.
Okay.
It came up for renewal.
Okay.
And so we already had a catalog of magazines that we use, and they asked if we wanted to add any more, so I thought these would be good.
Thank you. Those are good ones.
So our neighbor, Walter Enright, he's the owner of Signright. He saw our mailbox and was not happy with it, so he re-lettered it for us for free. So I'm gonna send him a little thank you card.
Terrific.
And the town has also provided us with a heavy-duty printer copier for staff use, and that's up and running, and it's behind the circ desk.
I saw that the other day. That thing is
Yeah,
Cadillac.
yeah, it prints and it staples and it makes punches holes. I love it. So.
These do look quite nice. They
Yes.
do.
Summer reading continues to go very well. We've had hundreds of participants so far in the children and teen programs. It's going very well so far. We had an author talk with Dorothy Greco, and she and her husband discussed their book, Making Marriage Beautiful. It was well attended. And I showed the Lego Batman movie on July 20th, which brought out an audience of 25 patrons.
Did you have popcorn?
No popcorn. You weren't there, so I couldn't get popcorn.
You only pop for Mark?
Yes, he's the only one that will eat it. Yeah, and then on July 18th, I had symphony catalog training with Helen.
Bet you that was fun.
Oh, yes. As far as the financial report goes, the fiscal year just started, so we've really only spent in our books line. So far, we spent already $15,376. To reach the MAR for this next coming year, we'll have to spend $113,008.96. Right now, we're going to be $3,169.61 short from gift. So we're not allowed to take from the state money, because we get the state money because we've reached the MAR, so you can't spend state money to get
Right.
to the MAR.
Yep.
So I think we'll be okay as far as gift goes. It's still at the beginning of the fiscal year, so I think we'll make up that amount.
So you're saying over the course of the fiscal year, $3,169.61, you anticipate coming in as gift money?
Yes.
Separate from any fundraising or building fund contributions. Let's say all the generous people in town decide just to give to the building, and it's now May, and that number is at the same.
I'll say, hi,
Then-
trustees.
Hi, trustees, can you help with
Right,
this?
right.
Because legally, with respect to the funding, it needs to be zero,
Right.
or in the black, but it
Right.
can't be in the red.
Also, if if the friends are paying for the subscription, in addition to the museum passes,
Right.
that
That adds to it.
That's
So
adds-
actually, that's like almost half of it gone already, yeah, so. Because the Friends, that counts towards it.
Oh, the $1,100.
Yeah, the $1,100 will count.
And the museum passes,
That's
already
included.
on there,
That's
though.
included. But we always spend more than that, actually, so.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So you're not worried?
Salaries are doing pretty well so far, and we do have a furniture budget of $7,500 still available, which I'll talk about there.
Okay.
And then I have the stats in there from June, since we missed July's meeting, I have the stats from July in there. At the last meeting, I think I was asked to visit IndieFlix. I did, and I visited twice, and it's on there twice, so it looks like it got recorded. So,
Okay, so,
I was the only one, but apparently.
okay. So IndieFlix
Yeah, so it was.
is really yours?
I watched it. So last time we met, we had discussed how maybe the stats weren't completely correct.
Right.
For some of these zero views. So I went through and looked at some of them, and it seems to have showed up on July's report.
Okay, so let's say someone's at home and they sign into the library website. IndieFlix is prominently displayed?
Yes, it's on the side. It's,
Okay.
honestly, I think it's the content. It's sort of, it's a streaming service for movies.
Okay.
But the quality of some of the movies aren't that great, but it's a part of a package deal, so.
It's sort of like when you buy
Right,
cable and you get
right.
those couple of channels that you say,
Right.
well, you never really watch those.
Exactly.
Okay, all right.
Will we be able to track the New York Times on here too, going
I
forward? or-
believe so, yeah.
I just didn't know how their tracking system,
Yeah, I
if
think
we're gonna
so.
see views or
Yeah.
users
Okay.
or what.
See if we get close to that 10,000.
Yeah, great.
Do you want to talk about the window?
The window? Oh, right. So, yeah, we should have said something, Kayla. You're talking about the downstairs. So, on one of the many days that we've had where it rained and rained and rained, Kayla, our scholarship recipient, was trying to race from her car into the library to do her scholarship volunteer work, and she slipped and fell and cracked one of the panels on the inside door of the downstairs. She's okay. We offered to take her to,
Right.
urgent care, but she said she was fine.
She hit it with her knee?
I'm not sure.
She hit with her knee in the
With her
rain, yeah.
knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't break the panel, but it kind of shattered it.
Sure.
She said she was fine.
Yep.
We wrote a report, an accident report. We contacted George. He had it fixed the very next day.
Terrific.
He also put down some rugs to prevent that from happening again in the future.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so,
Okay.
but yeah, she seems okay. She's
Yeah,
doing well.
she didn't limp at all.
She didn't limp at all.
So, it's good.
And is there any update on the library roof? I heard there were more leaks in the,
So from what I understand, so there was a leak, when you enter the library, there's a little closet next to the wheelchair lift, and water came through the wall of that closet that's between the closet and the wheelchair lift and created a little puddle right below the wheelchair lift. So we spoke to George about it. Apparently, the town would prefer to wait until the bids are complete on the roof. I guess there were some bids going on the roof, and,
The whole building or just that end?
that's
Just the leaky end?
right.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it's the whole building, but I know definitely our end.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when they plan to address it,
Okay.
I guess. But since then, it's rained a few more times and there have been leaks,
there have been more leaks?
yes. That
Do they
we've-
have any idea why the building roof keeps leaking? Because they fixed it not too long ago supposedly.
I don't know. They don't know either,
Could it be the weight of the books
perhaps.
pulling on the roof in a funny way? Well, you laugh, but it's not leaking elsewhere, where there are fewer
Okay.
books. Yep, that's my structural engineering contribution for the night. Heavy books.
Does that get kind of dangerous though with water and electricity and the lift and all that kind of thing?
I suppose so, yeah. that's my report.
Thank you. All right, moving on to old business. We have, first order is the library elevator and Americans with Disability Act issues. Sam?
So the library elevator no longer requires a key, yay.
Yay, it's
Now-
lovely.
yeah. So now it has regular elevator buttons. There are switches downstairs which control each floor. So we just have to flip them off when we're closed, and the elevator doors don't open on our side. When we flip them on, they open on our side.
Beautiful.
The only issue it's created so far is that people like George and Nancy now have to go outside the building and come around because they can't get through anymore because they had a key. So George is our maintenance person, Nancy's our IT person.
Oh.
So I think George has spoken to Associated Elevator about finding some sort of solution. I'm not sure how far he's gotten on that, but for right now, they've been kind of walking around the building to get to us. So, yeah.
Why? Why couldn't
Because-
George enter the elevator on the first floor, go up a floor and
Because
come
it
through?
doesn't open, because he used to use the key to open our elevator door, but now there's buttons. So there's no way for him to, if he presses the button while we're closed and the switch is turned off.
While we're closed.
While we're closed.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
So it's an issue when we're closed, not during normal hours. You can still get through
Right, you can still get through when
on
we're
the
open.
second floor.
Right.
Okay.
Are there any other issues when the thing is in use?
So far, there haven't been any that I'm aware of. No,
it's time to eat cookies.
as far as I know, everybody's been able to get in and is using it. Yeah,
Okay.
unless you've heard of something.
So you can go from the bottom floor to the top floor
Just
by
by
use of
pressing-
buttons?
Just
Okay.
by using the buttons.
And you can go from the, you can go from the top floor to the bottom floor
Yep.
with the use of buttons?
Yes,
So has any child pushed the button yet?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Have we advertised
Yeah, I put it on Facebook. We put up signs. Yeah, people are aware. George and I are still waiting to hear from the Neshoba Security about making the back door handicap accessible.
good.
They came about a month ago or so, or maybe even more than that, and they took a look. They said they'll let us know about a quote, and we're still waiting. So I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but we're working on it. George just keeps calling them. He's pretty adamant about trying to get that done. Once summer reading is done, Diane and I will look at adding taller shelving units to the children's room so that we can create more space in the aisles for wheelchairs and parents with strollers and that sort of thing. So we're just waiting for summer reading to be over because it's too crazy right now.
Have we looked if that requires recarpeting?
I have not. Not yet.
Right.
On the powering the back door, making it handicap accessible, can you make sure Bonnie's aware or keeps that in mind? So, because they were talking about doing that effort as part of some other larger
Right.
capital project
Yeah.
for town meeting.
Yeah, if I ever get the quote, I will let her know.
Yes.
Yeah, but I will. Yeah, I will let her know.
Just keep it so that she knows that it may be coming as
Yeah.
part of whatever she's doing.
Yeah. So that's all I had about the library elevator and ADA access. Are there any questions? Other questions?
All right, moving on to the next old business, library T-shirts update. Guess what I have? It's not an update, it's show and tell. All right, so we got, these are just, what would you call the first?
Prototypes?
The prototypes. So this is a youth medium.
Very nice.
With this on the, and then on the back.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
And right now, we have two colors. We have white, and we also have light blue.
It looks soft.
They are 100% cotton because Katie Caruth, one of our newer board members, said, I'd really like it to be 100% cotton. So we need to, so I have 2 youth mediums, 2 youth large, 2 adult small, 2 adult medium, and 2 adult large. That's what I have. We need to decide how we're going to do these. I worked with folks from Northeast Promotional Apparel. They, I hope, they've done it for other groups. I hope to get a virtual store where not only could you order, the T-shirt, you also potentially, if you wanted a snappy windbreaker, you could order one of those and perhaps have it stitched in. So in essence, they would take the lettering and the looks of this, right, and they would be able to accommodate other things. So when I was there today, the staff, there was really only one staff person there, so I didn't have an opportunity to talk about a store. But we, I think, talked at our June 23rd meeting about making these, what did we say, presents for our most vigorous summer readers. And I don't know, do you have any idea what the numbers are at for especially kids who have committed oodles of reading time this summer?
Not yet, no.
Okay, so maybe what we can do then is get a number from Diane in order to then place an order for more of the, this size shirt. And larger shirts if the children are a little bit older. And then we should put these on display at the library. We need to set a price point for selling these. I think we've got two ways to look at it. We can either sell them for not so much in order to encourage lots of people to have them, or we can sell them for a little bit more than not so much in order to put money into the building fund. Thoughts on those suggestions?
How much did they cost to make?
So these, 100% cotton with the blue and black. It's screen printed. It's not, what is it? It's not like transferred on. It's not a sticker. It's melted into the fabric. These were $6 each. So we need to come up with a number, a price point. What'd you buy that shirt for, David?
Oh, I bought it at the town fair. It cost me $10.
Is it
But
printed on the back
It
too?
was a donation to the, what was it? Master plan.
Oh, okay.
It's a
Yep.
master plan shirt. Okay, so.
Master plan, sure. That's awesome. All right.
At the town fair down at Fay Park. It was some sort of donation that I made.
Yeah, okay. So, thoughts?
I kind of like the idea of encouraging lots of wearers. So, not losing money, but maybe not, you're not gonna make a ton of money on $2, you know what I mean? Like, I think encouraging lots of wearers.
Yep.
That's my,
Like $10 or?
I think 10 or less. I mean, I think that will,
I think 10's a good price point.
Too.
10?
those are definitely, I mean, those.
Katie, what do you think,
Those are $10
quality-wise?
$10
Would you pay
shirts.
$10 for that t-shirt?
I think
Beautiful.
it's really nice. It
Jenna.
came out good.
I think it
It's
came out nice,
really
too.
sharp.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Jenna.
really.
Yeah.
$10 for that, $6 for that size. What about double?
Here's a adult large. Yes, I was charged $6 for this adult large and $6 for this youth medium. I don't know if you go up to.
Is the cost different for a bigger shirt?
I don't know how, I don't know. I can ask. I can find out. I mean, and I don't know.
Might want to factor that into what we're asking.
Sure.
Yeah, probably if you go to like a.
A 1X
multiple
or
Xs,
2X.
They probably do go up a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
but Probably not that much.
Being double X myself,
Yep.
if the one you're holding there is $6 and the double X has more material, it might be more.
Yeah, I don't know. My suspicion is that it's not,
Okay.
but I don't know for sure. So, okay. Does that oftentimes mean that you pay a little bit more for a t-shirt?
I have more experience with jackets than I do with, buying
Okay,
jackets
sure,
like that.
yep.
But I would just think maybe men's t-shirts, the double X ones
Yeah.
are more expensive.
So if you're looking through a catalog, does it say X amount, and then if it's a 1X, 2X, 3X, that is a little bit more? Is that kind of a,
I've seen it both ways. But,
Okay.
you know, where you're dealing with this company, it should be a really simple thing to get the answer from them.
it should be, yes.
Is a double X,
Okay.
more
All
money.
right.
In which case you might want to adjust the price that you're going to ask for.
Adjust all the prices, or just adjust
Well,
the,
Well, if you're selling them, as
So-
an example, if you're selling them for $10
Yes.
and the double X costs 12,
right,
then you're losing $2 in every one you send.
yeah,
So, that's all.
yeah.
You could also say that we're gonna sell the kids' shirts for 10 and the adults for 12. Right.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of covering if the,
I think we should charge 10 for all of them.
I think we should charge 10 for all of them, too. Oh, I'm not
Can I
so,
add?
yes,
if you buy them in larger quantities, or does the price?
I don't
go
think so.
down? Okay.
I don't think if we order 50 of them, they'll all of a sudden be $4 a piece.
Okay.
Maybe if we ordered 10,000 of them, though I'm not sure we're gonna be able to sell 10,000 shirts. Because we have fewer than that
Not
many
right
people
away.
in town. Not right away, when the library gets really popular.
Good
though.
work, good work.
All right, so, price point. I just heard someone say, I think we should sell them all for $10.
Can
Do
I
you-
make a motion?
Can you make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we charge $10 for all the shirts that we print, children's and adults, and have them on sale as soon as we get them from Northeast Printing.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on this radical idea? No discussion? Okay, all in favor of
So,
selling?
just want to
Whoa.
clarify. As far as you understand, they all cost the same, so the extra larges are not more. Should we just double check?
No,
Okay.
because it's really not a we thing, double checking, it's a me thing, double
Okay.
checking. And no, I don't want to do any more work. I want to do as little work as, no, I'm kidding. No, I think, let's say that they are $12. My guess is we're going to sell a bunch of the little ones
Yeah.
to adorable small book readers. So, and if there are 10 that we lose $2 on, we're making $4 on all the others. So
Okay.
I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
All right.
All right.
Do we need to discuss how many we're going to order at this time?
I would say after the motion.
Okay.
But yes,
All
I
in
think-
favor of charging $10? Who's on the 10? Hamilton?
Yes.
Alexander
When he
Hamilton.
was young
for
and
sure.
good
When
looking.
he was young and good, yeah.
Passover Hamiltons. All right. You give us your Hamilton, we'll give you a cute T-shirt. All right, very good. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Dimitri? Yes?
Yes, because last meeting, we discussed ordering 60 T-shirts, where we said that based on last year's summer readers that reached 50 and 100 hours of reading,
Right.
we said that 20 readers who reach 100 hours receive a free T-shirt, and then 30 T-shirts can be raffled off to the general public, and then we will have 10 available for purchase at the library. So, with a total of 60. So we would place an order for 60.
Yes. That is true.
Yeah.
We did talk about that. So we need a rough idea from Diane about the size of the kids, and now that we have these, she can surreptitiously sneak up behind them and hold them up.
And maybe Jenna also.
Yeah, I'll let you know too.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so, and if summer reading ends in a couple weeks?
It's the 20.
August 20th.
Yeah,
August 20th,
August
okay.
20th.
They were quick to do this. I basically yesterday said, any chance we can have them tomorrow? And they said, yeah, sure. So I think that they can do a quick turnaround.
Okay.
So as soon as you let me know, how many, was it the 50,
It was
we guess
based.
there'd be about 20,
it was based-
50 plus, or 100 plus?
Yeah, last summer, 16 participants, that's including young children and young adults,
Yeah.
read 100 hours or higher.
Right.
And then there were 51 children and teens that
Yep.
read
50.
50 hours. So we had said at last
Yep.
meeting that we were going to
That's right.
offer T-shirts for free to the readers who reached 100 hours.
That's right. And then of the remaining kiddos, we were going to just names out of a hat.
Right. Well, in the general public, adults, teens, and
That's right.
children, 30
Okay.
T-shirts
Right.
are going to be
Yeah.
made available to raffle off.
All right. Terrific.
And I would say as caveat, if they seem like everybody who's coming into the library says, I really want one and I'll pay $10 for it, we can also always reorder from
Yes.
North
Yes.
and
I can,
have them
and as I
more.
said, I would like to try to set up a virtual store. It is more, I think, a matter of sitting down with people, perhaps after summer is over. They were short-staffed today, so I didn't have a chance to have that. Oh, and while we're talking about $10 T-shirts, we do have $5 magnets also for sale that you can affix to your vehicles, your boats, your fridge.
Can I ask how we're planning on, so we're hoping to do this through the store, or are we hoping to get, like, keep a stock of, a couple shirts in blue and a couple shirts in white in different sizes at the desk, and when they're out, we will order more, or
Yeah.
someone?
Okay.
I'm just asking the
Yeah, and
logistics on how
Sure.
we're expecting this to work, and what we're expecting out of the staff versus expecting out of us.
Yeah, I think that if we have a few on display and people are interested, and you say, oh, well, that's the very last one, sure, you can have it, that if you can, I mean, I'm happy to contact them and continuing to sort of stock what's at the front desk. But I will order the additional 50 shirts as soon as I have a sort of a sense for size.
Okay.
But I think ultimately, the goal would be maybe to have a couple on display, and if people say, oh, I love that shirt, you would say, oh, good, and hand them a business card with, here's the link, just go on there and order, and then maybe Northeast Apparel, when they get a box worth of stuff, they would ship it here, or I don't know how they manage all that. I would have asked that had there been more people there today, so I can find out from them how the logistics work.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you for doing that, that's
For the
great.
record, or for the minutes.
Yeah.
How many T-shirts are you going to be ordering?
So
Decided?
this initial 10 was to give you all a sense for how they looked and whether you liked them. We're going to order 50 more, with an estimate that 20 of those will go to our 100-hour-plus children summer readers and young adult summer readers. And then an additional 30 shirts will be sort of drawn at random for other summer reading participants. So the first round are these 10, followed by a round of 50, but thereafter, we'll be able to figure out the logistics of the store.
One other question on the 20 and the 30 raffles. Are we going to call people and find out what they're, say, congratulations, you want a shirt, what size would you like in color? And we're going to call the people that did a 100-hour summer reading and say, congratulations, you got a shirt, and what size and color? I'm just asking how it's logistically, I mean, I'm willing to step up and help call. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering how we're managing it without, I don't want to put too much work on the staff for this, right?
Well, I mean, I think that if, for instance, if Diane sees,
I mean, if she knows who the
6
readers are, she can ask them.
third graders, my guess is she's probably ordering something on the smaller side, right? So,
Yeah, I'll speak to Diane about it, about whether or not she thinks she can accurately
Yeah.
give a size.
Okay.
And if
So-
not, we'll,
Here's a question.
But the 30, we're going to have to, if they're randomly drawn, we're going to have to call them and say, congratulations. you
right,
won a
or
shirt."
we could order, like I did here, a bunch of different ones. Say, come in and pick your shirt. They might hold them up and say, this one's too big, this one's too small. Can I get a thus and such? And we'll say, sure, we can place that order. I think it'd be better just so people come in and look at what sizes there are, rather than having all these phone calls made.
Yeah, and I think also you've got to realize the front, you're selling magnets, you're selling those journals. There's only so much space if you put T-shirts on top of it too.
We're selling hot air balloons next month, so you best be making room.
So I think it's better to have more of a virtual store.
Yeah, I agree.
That kind of perpetuates itself versus asking the staff to hold up T-shirts and what color do you want and this and that.
Right.
And your reference question, you could put that aside, because I've got to find out what size you are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so with respect to just the front end of this, let's, if it's okay, have these available for people to look at and to familiarize themselves with, to fall in love with, and then to order. All right. And I agree, having it done in a virtual sort of way is much easier. All right, great. Also, under this item is advocacy and promotions.
I think Katie wanted to talk about advocacy.
Yeah, going back to the last meeting we had, where Jenna and I sort of gave an update of what we learned at the ALA advocacy boot camp.
Boot camp.
I just was going to suggest that we perhaps move forward on some of the ideas. It seems like I shared some documentation with everybody about an overview of what was, what we learned at the boot camp. And it seemed like there were perhaps 3 specific parts that I could think of, and one was, strategizing the outreach. That was a big part. Another part was identifying key spokespeople in the community. And a third part was collecting stories from the librarians about how the library has impacted people's lives. And I'm told that they all have lots of stories. So I would, I would love to be able to reach out to them and ask them and collect some stories.
Okay.
Just, part of this 3-tiered initiative.
How would you foresee sharing the collected stories?
That's, comes later.
Okay.
It's sort of, amassing information for informing the public about the importance of the impact of the library, and, individual examples can be very powerful. And so if we collect them, then we can decide how to use them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, when we were at that training, it was made really clear how moving those experiences can be for a lot of people, and eye-opening for others. So it's great. I think that collecting stories. So how are you planning on interviewing the librarians, or?
I hadn't really thought that
Okay.
far. I'd be happy to do that. I'd be happy, whatever works for the librarians and their availability.
Yeah.
If they want to jot things down, or I can jot them down, or,
Yeah.
But, my initial thought was that, this was part of the advocacy, and I was just thinking that of hopefully that getting some momentum, and I'm willing to reach out to the librarians. I can transcribe. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's great to put some words with people's faces. You walk in every day, you check out their book, this and that, but you really don't make a connection. And that allows you a little glimpse into the life of someone that you interact with every day. And I think once you can have some kind of connection with someone, it's a much more viable thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that wonderful spot where we want to put a bulletin board. Maybe you could do something with that. We could put up a photograph and, of the person, and maybe one a month even.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I like that idea. Well, and when we had the essay writing contest, while the theme was Love Your Library, there were definitely memories of these really meaningful happenings at libraries, even just a singular event. So they're out there. So. Great, okay. And maybe.
Yeah, and the example that they gave at the boot camp was of how it really changed the library really changed somebody's lives. A child reading with getting over stutter by reading to a dog for years and years and years. I don't know if we told that story.
I don't think we did. They would have all been crying.
That's all right.
You know,
We don't want to make them cry.
We don't want to make them cry. It's a beautiful story. What was the first on the list there, Katie? I got identifying spokespeople, but what was the first one you mentioned?
Collect stories, ID spokesperson, and then sort of a strategy for outreach.
Oh, right.
If we were
Okay.
going to pursue something along the lines of what ALA has laid out,
Mm-hmm.
which would put to use like the spokespeople in the community.
Right. Yep.
You know, maybe that all needs a smaller group to work that through a little more, come up
Do
with
you-
more of a plan.
Do you foresee it would be a smaller group from the 6 of us, or a smaller group with a couple of us and a couple of staff and a couple of citizens at large?
Well, that would be nice.
That would be nice, wouldn't
If
it?
it was the latter.
Yeah.
I don't know if the staff are willing and interested, but yeah, that would be great.
Most of our staff live in town. I think you might be the only one who doesn't.
Yeah, I don't.
Catherine?
Catherine doesn't, and James doesn't, right?
James doesn't.
I think everybody else does.
Yeah, so were we to form a working group, we might specifically ask our town residents / library staff, would you like to join us? There's no obligation. In no way is your salary next year going to be affected by your non-participation. No, but the idea of specifically inviting them. And maybe we should look to have a group of 6. 2 trustees, hopefully 2 staff, and 2 citizens at large.
Yeah.
Can we just do that? We can just do that? Can we just make up a working group that would report back to us? Or the members from this body would share what we're working on, sort of like when you and I did the policy revamp?
Yeah. The question is when the working group becomes a committee where you'd have to get everyone sworn in or not. You'd have to ask Diane what the rules are on some
Oh,
of
we should
those.
get sworn in.
No, but all 6 people would be sworn in to the
As a,
subcommittee.
right, when the
So-
building, library study building committee
Yeah.
met, you all
Sworn in.
got sworn in.
And you'd have to follow open meeting and all of that. I don't know how the committee's functioning versus like the fundraising,
Right.
which is not really a, you'd have to talk to Diane on the
Okay.
exact rules, but.
Why don't we
Explore
do
that?
that? Yeah. Do you want to do that?
I do.
Okay. And I don't need to be part of the advocacy group, but I'm happy to be part of the advocacy group, because I thought what we learned at that boot camp was really exciting and really inspirational as to, oh, we should do that. Oh, we should do that too. And we came back all hyped up on library energy. It is possible. So I'm happy to do it unless someone, David or Mark or Demetra or Chris, would rather do it.
I would be interested. Just think of a time commitment.
Yeah,
But definitely interested, so maybe we can figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyone on this side of the room interested in taking on another thing?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Very good. No, and also a no. Demetra?
No.
Excellent. See, that's good. You need people who can say no. Or what we could do is we could have 3 trustees, or have 2 and then an alternate if the other one can't show up.
Rotation or something.
Or we could all be alternates. And then never show up. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so, do you want to go talk to Diane? Do you want me to go talk to her?
I will talk
Should
to
we go
her.
together? All right, you will go, okay.
Yeah.
To ask about forming, what do we call it? The Reuben Hoare Library Advocacy Working Group. Reuben Hoare Library Advocacy Working Group. Okay, I just gotta make sure that it doesn't spell something odd, right? Okay. The advocacy working group is AUG. AUG. I don't know if I love that. AWG. Okay. So that's the next step in advocacy. All right. And then promotions, what are we promoting?
Demetra asked me.
Oh, Demetra's got a promotion.
Didn't you ask to include promotions in the agenda? That might have been a while ago.
Oh my goodness, I can't even remember.
Is it for,
I don't even know
is
what
it for
promotions.
third Thursday? Because,
I think it was for the building project.
Promotions.
They wanted us to discuss how we're gonna promote it.
Oh, God. My mind is drawing a blank. I don't
can
remember,
move on.
but.
okay, so well, let's table promotions.
Okay.
And if Demetra,
Give me a moment to
maybe you'll
think
go
about
home and
that.
you'll see that you took copious notes
Didn't you
about
want-
it.
Wasn't there something you wanted them to add to the agenda? Would that have
That,
been?
that was the.
That was promotions?
No, that was the Ray Grandi Memorial.
Oh, that's right. Right, how about we table promotions? And the homework is all of us think of a really good promotion, and then we'll be overwhelmed with promotions. I know, I'm done. Check. All right, moving on to the next old business, the meeting room policy and the donation policy.
So,
Mark?
At our last meeting, in our June 1st meeting, we talked about changing the meeting room policy to have a unable to reserve room if you fail to show up. So I added a clause in paragraph 2 on the meeting room policy about that, according to what we discussed. I also reached out to Pam Campbell and Alicia about if Park and Rec or Council on Aging had any comments on our policy, if, that they'd like to see changed for the current library's meeting room policy. There was discussion before about what they'd like to see in the new library, and since we don't actually have a new library yet, I said, let's not discuss that. So they had no comments. They both said they were fine with this policy as it was. So.
Okay, so the only substantive change is if a party reserves a room and fails to show up or cancels the room twice within a 12-month period, the party shall not be able to reserve a room for 6 months.
Yep.
Okay?
I noticed, the other thing I will try to do before we repost this is, since this has this funky Littleton file storage link, I would guess that's going to be changing as the website
Yes.
changes, so we should probably create it as a tiny URL that points at the right spot.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? So canceling the room twice within a 12-month period would be a penalty? What if there's like a certain period of time prior to the date of, seems like canceling your date, you shouldn't.
No, if you don't show up,
No show. He doesn't mean cancel. He means if you reserve the room and you don't show up, then you do that twice.
Right, no, I understand, but it says fails
Well,
to show up or cancel the
Right,
room.
the cancel should be up here. If the party reserves a room and fails to show, and fails to cancel,
Right.
do you want them to
Oh,
word?
see, I.
I'll reorder the word.
Fails to cancel.
or-
Thank you.
fails to
An
cancel.
Oxford comma situation there?
Yeah.
I know the writer in the room, sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate the clarification, that confused me. I'll set the way it is.
All right, a motion to adopt our new meeting room policy
As amended?
as amended and as will be enhanced with a tiny URL.
Can I second? I'll second.
Second? Are you looking for a motion?
You made the
Did
motion.
you motion?
Oh,
I thought you made the motion.
You just said as amended. Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, well, I just asked if that was as amended.
Oh,
Okay, I
sorry.
make a motion that we adopt the meeting room policy to be revised with the date of yesterday, with the amendment that Mark just made. That's the motion.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to the donation policy. Is this also something, Mark, that you worked on?
Yeah, so I took our current donation policy and attempted to revise it to include plans for the building fund, and also to have information about how to do pledges and things like that in there. I also sent this to Steve Venuti, who, to see if he had any comments. We had a bit of a discussion on what it means to give, in the fifth paragraph where we talk about gifts to the building fund in excess of $5,000 can be given conditionally in return. He was concerned about the tax impact of that, so we put in the statement about contact your tax advisor.
Oh, sure, okay.
His other suggestion is, we talked somewhere in here about how you can give by check, I think, or how to make checks out too. He suggested we also point people at ACH and the library website, so, since we can take donations in more than just checks.
Okay.
So that's changing the monetary gifts in the fourth paragraph there. We'll add a line about gifts can also be, we can do transfers through ACH or credit card donations through our website.
Mhm.
The other piece that needs finalized, that I didn't do, is if we want to write the gift or pledge letter, what that actually means, but I don't know if that actually is part of our policy as opposed to a separate document anyway, right?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that any sort of contractual arrangement made between a donor and, I guess it would be the trustees, relative to the fifth paragraph, where a request for conditional gifting, I would think any documentation to support that does not become part of the policy, but rather is driven by the fact that we've offered that as policy.
Right.
So I don't think that needs to be done. And in talking to the fundraising committee, and during that meeting last week, Chuck DeCoste was there, and there was some talk about, were we to have a letter with our larger donors which indicates conditionality, we would thereafter want to make sure town council is comfortable with the language of that drafted letter. So I can work on the letter,
Okay.
the actual fundraising letter. And I'll check with the fundraising committee to make sure they haven't done something. They might already have come up with something, and if they have, I can look it over before forwarding it off to Tom
So
Harrington.
as best as I can tell, we probably want to discourage people from giving conditional gifts because of tax implications for them.
Yep.
And recommend instead that they do a pledge, right?
Yes, I would agree. And I think that, again, the fundraising committee will have their own, they're going to have their own sort of opinions about how that goes. And I think that because they are the fundraising committee, that they should really drive that. I am of the opinion that if someone is willing to give you $10,000, getting the $10,000 that day, I think, is a better choice for fundraising than to get a pledge saying, when the day comes, I'll give you $10,000.
I agree with that. But if they say, I'm giving it to you for this purpose, and if that doesn't happen, I want my money back.
Yep.
That second part opens up a whole tax can of worms that I don't know if the
Depending, right.
fundraising committee has the expertise on how to recommend or guide people in there, and I don't know that they should either, right?
I agree.
So
Yeah.
that's, if people want to say, I'll give you $10,000 for the new library, and if the new library doesn't get built, it goes to children's books.
Sure.
That's a completely
Right.
different thing than saying, I want my money back, right? So we
Yes.
have to be really careful as people,
I agree.
and that's what I'm concerned with.
Yeah.
Right, if they think they're giving if they're giving for a new library and with the potential of asking for their money back, I think we encourage them to do a pledge instead.
Okay.
If they are giving to the library and say, if it doesn't happen, the trustees can allocate it for a different purpose under
Right.
my direction,
Yep.
then a
Right.
gift, straight gift is fine.
Yeah, no, you make a good point with respect to tax implications, which some of us don't think much about. Okay, so in glancing over what's written here, I think that there would be a way to make it more concise. Is there any objection to not adopting this until it's sort of tightened up a little bit more?
Well, I think we need to tighten it up now and adopt it rather than delaying, so that the fundraising committee has something to
All
work
right.
off of when they go to the selectmen.
Okay, then.
I'd rather tighten it up if there's something.
Okay.
That could take some time.
Well, I didn't know how much tightening we're talking.
So if we look at this as a policy, are we looking at this as a policy? I guess it's what my respectful opinion is, maybe we can either bullet it in bullet it something. I feel like the paragraphs make it hard to access, and some of the sort of editorial statements don't feel to me like they belong in a policy. So the trustees strongly believe in building the endowment fund. That's true, but maybe that shouldn't be stated in a policy? That's not really an instruction, like, that's not, I guess that's kind of where, and I'm not sure if I'm responding to Jenna's.
I agree.
Yeah, well, so some of this is if you go through the library policies that we currently have, a lot of them are written that way.
Okay.
Maybe we decide they shouldn't be written that way, but I mean, that was the form of the
I
existing
mean, I
one.
think the
I'm
content
fine
is
with-
fine. I just feel like if someone says, what's your donation policy? And we say, here's, you have to sort of scan it. It doesn't sort of jump out at me like, here's what I have to do to donate to the library. It feels a little, it just feels complicated. I don't think it is. I don't think it's complicated, it just feels like it because there's a lot of words on the page.
Okay, fair.
Was it originally bulleted?
It was bulleted before for some of the things, but the bullets, the way it was bulleted, I didn't think actually they didn't fall. It was less coherent the way it was bulleted before, in my
I don't know what it
opinion.
looked like before, so I'm just.
So I can put these things under bullets rather than, or number I mean,
maybe there's categories, maybe it's the independent fundraising piece, and then there's a gift, a gift section, and then there's endowment, like maybe there's like sections.
so this wasn't really going, well, there's also a gift policy that's separate from this, which is more around books and materials, gifts of materials. This is more around cash.
For instance, the first paragraph there, I'm not even sure why we need that at all. Why do we need that at all?
It was
Okay.
copied directly from the existing.
All right. Fundraising projects that use the library, I don't even understand what that means.
If you wanted to have,
Like the trees?
the trees or something that they're using,
Okay, so fundraising projects that use, can we say space within the library?
Specifically to raise money for the library also, or we're not talking about people that are using the library to fundraise for other,
Do we have
Like Girl
anyone that does
Scouts.
that? Do they do that?
yeah.
You do? Oh, I didn't know
We
that.
have.
Oh. They use, well, wouldn't, any fundraising project that uses space within the library would need approval, right? Any at all?
Well, our meeting room policy says fundraising events can only be held by the trustees or friends of the library. So,
Because I didn't do policy.
And nobody enforced it, because we, okay.
And Wilton Scholarship Trust always is using the library for their meetings.
but they're not using it for fundraising.
They're not using it to fundraise at their meeting.
No, but
They're not holding-
they're talking about fundraising and how to get people to donate in order to, disperse their scholarships.
Yeah, but that's not, I think what we're trying in the meeting room policy was saying you can't, use the Cooper Room to hold a gala to raise money, we're not gonna, you
Okay.
can't do something
No
and sell
galas.
tickets. We're trying to get away from people selling tickets and things like that to come to a public building.
Yes. Because there have been times where people have wanted to have a fundraising event in the Cooper Room, like selling raffle tickets for silent auctions or whatever. And it was not a fundraising event that benefited the library or any library-related thing, correct? Okay, so that's why that one's there.
Subheadings?
Yes, I think
On
that'd be
this?
helpful. Should be limited to specific purpose.
In that way, if you want to find where can I find out information on contributing to the library building fund, you can just skip a lot of
This isn't
this.
actually telling you any about how to, this isn't meant to tell you necessarily how to contribute, it's telling you if you contribute,
The parameters.
the parameters,
Right.
right? That's what this is meant to do, not saying how to contribute. It's if you contribute, what happens.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I just got a bit confused because of the sentence, donations to this fund should be made to the Reuben Hoare Library Building Fund. Sounds like an instruction on, how to make that donation.
I agree. Why don't we cross out that sentence? So to defray, okay, can we just start at the beginning? I don't think we need the first paragraph.
Right.
Okay, second paragraph. Fundraising projects that use space within the library need approval of the board. Fundraising should be limited to specific projects and be limited in both scope and time. I don't know why we need or requests, so I've crossed or requests out. Next paragraph. I think the next paragraph regards conditional gifts. And these gifts are like tangible material things, right? They're actual physical things, right? So
Like a work of art or.
a work of art, conditional gifts of, can we say conditional material gifts? Like actual things that are of substance?
No, they don't have to be, I mean, I can give you a conditional gift on, I'll give you.
Cash?
Sure.
So,
I'll give you $20,000 if you're open on Sundays, and we decide not to do that. Right, that's still a conditional gift.
okay, yeah, all right.
It's two different things. It's just two different things.
Okay, so, all right, then fine. Conditional gifts, that could be the heading for paragraph 2. What's the heading for paragraph 1? Fundraising projects?
Sure.
Okay. Fundraising projects, conditional gifts. The trustees will- Sam, are you comfortable with being able to determine what's unusual? Because gifts deemed as unusual by the director will be referred to us for a decision. So if someone wanted to give us like a stuffed grizzly bear as a gift,
I'll be sure to ask.
that would be an ask?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that shouldn't be listed, that shouldn't be here, that should be maybe on another page. It's not fundraising, it's just a gift, it's a material gift, like say, a stuffed grizzly bear has nothing to do with fundraising.
we'll cross that sentence out and put it on, if it's
Or
on the,
move this
there's a
down.
gift of materials, there's another gift of materials policy, we'll make sure it has something like that on it.
Okay, hold on. This policy originally was, the header was donation policy, correct? This is the donation policy for the Reuben Hoare Library.
So,
So,
well, so our policy is one big document at the moment. And what we've done is split out other policies from it, but we haven't taken them out of that one big document. So the next thing that I was going to mention is what we should do almost immediately is break that document up into all the little policies and get rid of the big document that's out there.
okay.
Right, so that the sections that no longer apply aren't there. So this policy that I wrote, the original one, came from the gift and donation policy.
I
Where
see.
we already split out the gift policy.
Right.
Or gift of materials, I don't know if it's gifts in general or gift of materials, but.
I think it's just called a gift policy.
Okay, so,
Table this. It's getting too long.
What's the difference between a gift and a donation?
yeah, what's the difference between a gift and a donation? It's the same thing, legally.
So I think the gifts, we had the gifts which were non-cash and the donations were.
The grizzly bears.
So gifts are material objects and donations are money, cash.
Or
Except when I just said, a gift is material, you said, no, it could be money.
No, you said conditional can be still money, right?
You're right, you're right. Conditional gifts, okay. So, why don't we do this? Why don't we have here's this fundraising projects that use space within the library need approval of the board. Perfect, done. Okay, I don't think we need to say fundraising should be limited. I mean, if we have to give approval and they say, I want to use the Cooper room for the next 6 months every night to do fundraising, we would say, no, that's excessive, and we need other people to use the limited space we have. Okay, so fundraising projects that use space within the library need to be approved. Okay, this is now the, I mean, is that its own page in the policy book, under fundraising policy?
Hmm?
Is that going to be its own singular page? I mean, if you were flipping through a book, is this the fundraising projects policy, that one line?
No, this one thing is one document, separate.
No, it currently is one document, but
No, okay.
I don't see how fundraising projects that need board approval relate to a donation or a gift policy. Do you see what I'm saying? David?
I have a different thought.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
this is complicated enough, so I think it needs more time than we could spend tonight to make it right.
I would agree, and I suggested that we read this over and come back with something more concise, and Mark said he believes a fundraising group should have something.
And I understand that we should have something that they could use, but in trying to rewrite it tonight, I'm not sure we get it right.
All right, let me ask you this then. With respect to the policy as it stands now and what you've written here, can you cull out what is different?
The last 3 paragraphs
Okay.
are the major parts that are different.
Okay, so the first 4 paragraphs that we were just looking at,
They're effectively the same.
they're effectively the same in substance?
Yes.
Okay, so why don't we table the top 4, though we've deleted the first one. We'll table the top 4 for editing and refinement and tightening and making more concise. With respect to the new information, which certainly is necessary for the fundraising committee to have something to say to large donors. Why don't we take a look at those?
So along those lines, then what we should probably do is vote this policy and then revisit it and vote the entire thing, whether you want to table the top 4, we're saying we're going to leave them as is, right? We're going to write the last 3 paragraphs as we like them, and then at our next meeting, we'll vote this again, revising those other paragraphs. Does that make sense? Because you can't,
Why doesn't somebody just take it, rework it, and we look at it again next time we meet?
because if the fundraising committee goes in front of the Board of Selectmen and are asked what the policies they're working under, they don't have one. So they can't go forward with the Board of Selectmen,
Can this be like a working
that's-
paper?
so. we
My,
can-
my understanding was the fundraising committee, we're going to go in front of the Board of Selectmen on the 14th of August in order to talk to them about naming rights, which is when this, I mean, on the 11th or 10th of July, when I was there, that's sort of when this began to be a topic. So they were thinking about, based on what we talked about at the meeting last week, probably what they're going to talk about on Monday, the 8th, when they meet, is an idea, or Tuesday, the 8th, when they meet, is an idea of what are they presenting to the board. I'm not sure the Board of Selectmen are necessarily interested in whether the Board of Trustees are strongly recommending that donors talk to their tax advisor, right? I mean, I'm not sure that that's something that the Board of Selectmen is concerned about. The scope of the original going to the Board of Selectmen was with respect to naming rights. That triggered one meeting last week. It's certainly going to be discussed at this meeting. You're saying that in our current policy, these last 3 paragraphs don't exist.
No, actually, the last paragraph does exist.
Okay, so it's
At the middle 2, the second to last.
the,
2.
to defray the cost in multi-year pledges.
Yep. There's nothing about conditional gifts being returnable. There's nothing about pledges.
Didn't we discuss in last week's meeting about drawing up a document that puts forth what these policies for donations will be with these larger donors for our new library? Didn't we discuss that? Someone is drawing that up, so hopefully when they go before the selectmen, will they have that document available to show them? Because I think that is what they were interested in seeing.
Right. Well, and my understanding was that Jennifer from the fundraising committee was going to give some boilerplate, because she's a fundraiser, so she was going to give some boilerplate examples of those sorts of conditional letters. And then from there, she's going to forward those to me. I was going to change those into what would appear to be relative to the Reuben Hoare Library Building Fund, and then forward it off to Tom Harrington for him to say, yes, the language in this is clear, it's concise, and
So that's what's.
that's what's
under-
basically,
Right.
That's the second to last paragraph saying that there should be a gift pledge letter, right?
yes.
There probably should be a sentence in there saying that, you know, the trustees have to sign off on the pledge letter, right?
Yep, okay.
So it doesn't, we don't have to say what the pledge letter is, but we have no way of doing these commitments right now.
Okay, so, correct. So right now, you could say, do we need a quorum of the Board of Library Trustees to sign any such pledge letter, or a member?
We should vote the pledge, vote if it's if we can have a boilerplate letter
Right.
that we approve.
Yes?
And then anything outside of that boilerplate letter should be voted by, it's gonna be then more of a conditional thing that has to be voted by us again, right?
I don't understand what you're saying, I'm sorry.
So we can, at some future meeting, we come up with this boilerplate pledge letter.
Yeah.
And say, you know, these are the conditions that we, as a board, have agreed to accept for pledges, right?
Right.
If a donor comes back and says, I don't like your pledge letter, I want to rewrite it to be XYZ instead of ABC,
Right.
to approve that donor's pledge letter
Right.
would require a vote of the board.
I see, okay, all right. But, okay, so are you saying then that we as a board are comfortable with the fundraising committee going out into the community, finding benefactors to make donations, and that they should have, along with them, a letter where someone says, yeah, I'm happy to donate $10,000, and they say, oh, good. Are you gonna write a check for that right now? And they say, well, you know what, I'm gonna instead pledge. And they say, okay, here's your pledge letter. That's one document. Then a separate letter would potentially be, oh, hold on a second. What if the town doesn't want to put their money toward the building, and therefore the building won't be built? What's gonna happen with my $10,000 then? The fundraising folks would say something to the effect of, well, there are some options. You could either have it then just go into the general fund. You could specify you would like it to buy children's books. Or if you are only donating in order to fund a build of a new library, then we could also make an arrangement that you would get your money back.
Effectively, yes, but with the pledge, you're not necessarily collecting the money in advance, so there's no necessarily giving
No,
it back.
that's
but-
true, but if they end up saying, okay, I'm writing the check right now, are we saying to anyone who writes a check of, I mean, you've got $5,000 here.
So right now, the way our policy is written, if someone gives us a check for $10,000, it goes into an endowment account,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Unless they tell us something otherwise, right? So if someone gave you a $10,000 check and it doesn't come with a letter that says, you know, it's going to the building fund for, you have to call them up and get them to send you a letter that says it goes to the building fund, or we're never spending that $10,000.
Right, our policy says gifts in excess of $10,000, it says here, may be placed in a named endowment fund.
That, well, I believe the current policy says will be, or shall be,
Okay, well,
but
that says may on this one.
it also says in the absent, I think I loosened the language from what the current policy says to say whether or not it had to go in an endowment fund or not.
Okay.
We can table this if you want, but then the fundraising committee doesn't have much to work on until, we need this soon.
Yeah.
Right? If it's not this meeting, it has to be.
Okay, so why don't we do this? I will,
Is everybody happy with 1, 2, 3, the first 4 paragraphs?
no,
No.
I'm not. Chris appears not to be. Demetra's shaking her head as well. Katie? Yeah, okay.
But the first 4 paragraphs are they are the current policy.
Pretty, the first 4 and the last one are effectively the current policy, so.
Okay.
So could we say that they're okay to use in a discussion with the Board of Selectmen in the light of the fact that they are our current policy for now?
Okay, so why don't people send me what they want changed? I will I will make the modifications.
Okay. Gifts to the building in excess of $5,000 can be given conditionally in the event the building project does not go forward. I'd like to see that number be a little bit higher than that. If we have 10,000 as the endowment fund, why couldn't we have that number match? Okay.
We can pick whatever numbers we want.
Well, yes, no, I realize that. But with respect to my drafting a boilerplate letter, I would need a certain fixed figure. I just think $5,000 is low.
I don't know, well, yeah, I don't know what the lower range of things they were selling naming rights to were either, right?
We have something here.
14.
This was a proposed list of,
Yeah, they went down to $5,000.
They did on that? Okay, fine, we can leave that.
But I
That's
don't
fine,
know-
that's fine. Then
I don't know that we
there.
voted this list either on the amounts.
We
where they
didn't.
wanted to go.
Yeah, we didn't. Okay, so what would folks like to do? Mark has offered to receive editorial comments to this. Are we individually each interested in making editorial comments so that Mark can clean up the language?
Well, we have a writer, professional writer.
I know that. Would you like to clean up the language?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like Mark shouldn't be getting like 6 different editor.
I don't
Okay.
care. I've done that several times. You send out technical specs, it happens all the time.
Okay, well, okay. If Chris is willing to tighten up the language, take out some of the things like the trustees strongly believe in building the endowment fund, like those sorts of non-directive, non-policy-like sounding verbiage, I will happily work on the boilerplate letter using a different boilerplate as the guide with respect to $5,000 or higher donations by people. Okay? All right, so I will draft a,
When is the fundraising committee meeting with the board?
A week from Monday.
14th of August is when the fundraising committee is going back. And again, my understanding was their goal of going to the meeting on the 14th was to give the Board of Selectmen, in essence, their menu of, that Dimitri has here. So if you were to donate, let's see. Like they're hoping to raise $10,000 for the circulation office to be given a naming right. Okay, so if you had $10,000 and you wanted the circulation office named after the Rombacher family, then that's their hope for it. So my understanding was they were going to go with these numbers, which could change when they meet on the 8th. But with respect to naming rights, they're hoping to, oh my gosh.
I was wondering when you would notice that.
What is this, knee surgery?
Yeah.
Okay, this is disgusting.
I've been looking at the back of that.
Holy smokes!
We ran out of computer paper, so we had to use scrap paper.
It's not even near Halloween, and this is
It came from
horrifying.
my husband's work, so
Uh-huh, okay.
actual photos. Of
So I'm
me.
just gonna,
But the fundraising committee also has to go with the caveat that the trustees haven't approved any of those numbers either, right?
yeah, I mean,
That was their original guess, but we haven't talked about it with them.
sure, okay, all right, I can't look at that anymore, I'm getting actually a little queasy. All right, so with respect to the donation policy, Chris has offered to rewrite it, reword it, make it clear and concise. I will find boilerplate conditional gifting language and draft something in keeping with what is loosely here, and also forward that off to town council for his stamp of approval, okay?
And before we leave the policies, does anyone have objections to me working with Sam to take the big policy document and break it up into little policy documents?
No,
With the
no
correct-
objections at all, that sounds like
And we will delete the sections that are already covered by other
fun.
policies.
Thank you. Okay, 9:25, who wants a cookie? Pass them around, well, we should pass them down, Henry's gonna want one. All right, let's move on to new business, hard-working library trustees in need of cookies. So, new business, the Ray Grandy Memorial Scholarship, we just awarded our 2 hours ago, we awarded our 2017 recipients. We are hopeful that we will have others apply. And this is the advertisement as it stands now?
Yeah, we have to change contact Kip.
I
Yes,
noticed that too.
yes, we're not gonna contact Kip. And then with respect to the scholarship award averaging, the 1,500,
I think we should have a set amount, and that is the amount that we stick to every year.
thoughts on Demetra's suggestion that we have a set amount that we stick to every year?
Just in my experience of being on scholarship award committees and receiving some myself, they've always had a set amount, and they have, sorry, but it's from experience.
You don't want the number shifting at the end. You don't want to go in thinking you're getting $4,000 and they're like, oh, we're going to give you $2,200. You want to know.
It's a set amount. And
Okay.
if it changes, then it's a different type of award.
So I've seen it both ways, so some scholarships you apply for, they tell you exactly how much they are. Some scholarships you're awarded and, like Littleton Scholarship Trust, they give different amounts to all the kids, right? Based on, and my kids got 4-H scholarships, and the 4-H scholarships, the amount comes in, every kid could have a different amount, and the amount varies from year to year. The board votes it every year for every kid, actually, that gets a scholarship.
Why-
So I agree we should have an amount that says we're going to get the scholarship. I agree we should vote a floor for the scholarship. I don't know if we vote a max.
But why do they give different amounts every year? Do they not have all the funds available of the previous year? Is it based on, well, this particular person did a stellar job and we should give them more? I mean,
Yes. it's more
okay,
that.
so if we're gonna do something like that, shouldn't we have writing that specifies? I mean, I don't know, I just think it's very vague. The award averages $1,500. Would it be less than that? Would it be more?
It's
I
never
mean-
been less than that.
Right.
I think the first, well, no, I'm not sure. I think one year we did $1,000 scholarships but I think the hours we required might have been less.
It's just tax-free.
Yeah, it's a
So-
present. Should be
One-
happy to get anything.
And one year we gave all, when, our first year, I think we went beyond what we originally planned because the scholarship recipient did well beyond
Yeah.
the number of hours we said, so.
Right. And we only had one that year. So, well, when this first came up, the idea was, what if it was a two-part thing. Number one, the library was experiencing volunteers coming in, getting sort of trained, working for 6 or 7 hours over the course of 6 months and never coming back again. So there was a lot of inconsistency. So the idea of, well, what if we were to ask and offer the scholarship to a senior who would be, in town and around and able to come in on the weekends and be helpful in the evenings or whatnot, and be able to work in the summer and help with summer reading. We figured over the course of 15 months, they could have up to 15 months, so they could sort of start thinking about it in the summer before their senior year, but we've never had anyone start that early.
No,
But regardless,
No, the 15 months is you're going to school within 15 months of the scholarship.
you can take a gap year is what that means, right? Yeah, okay, but the idea being within, you'd have about a year to do 150 hours
Yeah, we give them
of,
10 months.
right, so we figured, that's right, so we figured the school year, 10 months, 15 hours a month was not overly aggressive, right? Why are you all smiling?
No, because I put this down, and it's nothing.
Okay, so, and 150 hours at the time translated to $1,500, because at the time, minimum wage was $10. So we figured, we're not gonna hire, we don't have room in the budget to hire someone, so this would be sort of the equivalent of someone working for us as a volunteer, and at the end of the working, they would get this amount of money, which is equivalent to minimum wage without any taxes being taken out, and a gift specifically for college. Whose is that?
That is my fault.
Turn it off.
So along Demetra's lines, I would say that we change the letter to say that we're going to give, well, it says we're giving it to an incoming high school senior. We should decide if we want to say we're giving one or we'll give two again. And I would say the scholarship will pick a floor.
Okay.
Right? And I'd like $1,750 as a floor, rather than $1,500 with minimum wage going up and better attract the kids.
Okay, so that would be the floor. So
It will be
we'll
at
need
least.
to, the trustees, that means that the trustees are willing to, this coming year, allot up to $3,500 for up to 2 incoming high school seniors, each of whom has the potential of receiving a $1,750 scholarship if he or she gives their 150 hours volunteer time. I'm fine with that. But I can't make a motion.
You said $3,500.
So we're
Two.
changing the
So,
word.
so be careful how you word that, because when I was listening, if only one person applied, only one,
Yes.
you would accept that one,
If only one person were to apply, we would accept that one. And that one person,
would get,
$1,750, unless, and this happened one year, that one person was really here like 400 hours. And we said that we had allotted $3,000 at the front end of the year, and at the end of the year, we said, we're just gonna give it all to her because she worked super hard.
is
Right?
it necessary that we put in the gross amount, that gross amount?
No,
No.
I think we say that the scholarship will be at least.
Fine, so
$750.
each scholarship will be no less than $1,750, provided conditionally that the person does as is expected.
And that leaves room for being able to make it, give them more if they redeem.
Right. But that also leaves room for us to say, you were only here 12 hours. We're not giving you $1,750 because you did not volunteer in the manner in which we expected. And we ran into this, I think, one time,
Right.
where they were really thin on the hours and we were unsure that they were gonna get it done. Okay, all right.
Can we also include something that says this is a one-time scholarship? I had to explain to someone that it wasn't an annual thing,
What do you mean?
that it wasn't that they're getting $1,500.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
So a one-time scholarship award. Okay, all right.
That's why I think that there should be some paragraphs written that explain in detail what is expected of the scholarship recipient, what they're going to be receiving, what happens if they do not fulfill their hours, what happens if they go over their hours. I mean, are they actually handed anything like that? Or are they just told, yes, you were receiving this scholarship, you need to log your hours here, and
No, the application just says they have to be a high school senior or resident
Right.
of Littleton, 150 hours. Hours have to be completed by July 31st. That's about it.
who lost their time to
We keep it in a logbook with Susan.
Because we did come across that issue a few years ago where a recipient did not do their hours and then kind of, at the very end of the school year, started to come in and try to just earn it all immediately, which I think in a 3-month period, which defeats the whole purpose of having 10 months to
So,
work on this.
so, I agree with you, Demetria, we should have that, but we don't have to do that tonight.
Okay.
So we need to get this out soon.
Right.
Right, I think the application is fine, and the promo is fine with the caveats we made. And we can work together and come up with a scholarship policy on what the requirements are.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just gonna be reworded to say, offer this annual scholarship to up to, right? Up to 2?
Sure.
Okay, so annual scholarship to no more than 2 incoming high school seniors who are
Yep.
Littleton residents and plan to attend college within 15 months of graduation. Applicants agree to volunteer 150 hours of time and energy and service, just time. Why energy? What, can we just say time volunteering? Volunteering at the Rubenhour Library. The scholarship award, what was it? The scholarship award will be no less than $17.50, provided,
Upon completion of the 100.
upon completion of the 150 hours by July 31st.
Upon completion, the scholarship award will be the one-time scholarship award.
The one-time scholarship award, okay. All right.
On completion of the requirements is already.
Yeah, on completion of the requirements, the one-time scholarship award of no less than $1,750 will be awarded to successful humans. Okay, so, is that all right? Are we all right with this?
Yes.
Okay, I can't make a motion on my own words, but you can just say,
I make a motion that we accept the Ray Grandy Memorial Scholarship letter as it's amended.
I'll second it.
all in favor? Opposed?
And
Right.
Get
I
a
should
copy of
add,
that from someone so I can send
in
that.
the application
Yeah,
also.
here. Do you have a blank one of these? I'll fix it. Okay, all right.
Did, Jenna,
Yes,
the application is okay? We don't need to say anything, because I did not add the word application in the motion. So I make a motion, we accept the Ray Grandy Memorial Scholarship letter as amended and the scholarship application as written.
I'll second that.
all in favor? Opposed?
1750. That's the amended.
Oh,
Okay. All right,
So 1750 is the amendment, that's the only amendment?
No, there's a little bit of wording changes on that.
I think it's some wording
this
changes.
was not a motion for the scholarship application, was it?
What's that?
This was not a motion for the scholarship
I
application?
just made it.
Okay.
What did you want changed on that?
Just the eligibility of requirements. Typed one-page essay of no more than 300 words explaining the importance of community service. Why not library-related? Why not, the importance of service to your library? And why you, no? Okay.
It's hard enough to
Ray
get a
Ray
word.
went beyond the library. That's
Okay.
the reason it was.
So that's a motion on the board.
I think we're fine. Did we voted?
yes, we did. On the application?
Yep.
Okay, all in favor? I thought I said that. I thought you all said aye. Okay. All right, so moving on the agenda then to the library programming budget. This is Helen, is this yours? All right, how much do you want?
Well, let's talk about it. Right now, I have set up for September, he's a retired circuit court judge from Massachusetts. His topic is old whiskey and young women, and he
Who is
talks
it?
about Markovitz, I have his book, I just bought it, but he is coming, and we're just giving him a $100 honorarium. October is vampires. Someone from Northern Essex Community College is going to talk about the lore of vampires and why we all gravitate to that kind of, it's kind of Halloween-y theme. So, and then in November we have Professor Robert Cox of UMass, who's coming out to talk about, he writes on New England specialties like cranberries, chowder. And this one is going to be on pie, how Boston cream pie, how, so we thought we would pair that with some type of pie tasting or whatever for November.
Why don't we do pies in the face, too?
That might violate the room.
Oh, that would trigger the $50 cleanup face. Never mind.
That brings us to December, right there. So I thought for the year, we could ask for $1,000, and that would cover whatever we decide to do in the spring.
Will there be food at these events?
There's always food.
Then I vote yes. So you would like $1,000?
Yeah.
And do we take that usually from MMDT? Yeah,
We
okay.
take everything from MDT.
We take everything from, we don't,
Oh, were you asking the Friends for any of the money, or are you asking us for all of it, or are you asking us first and then the?
I just figured we could start with you guys and see how it went, and then path of least resistance, and if you were tight with the money, then I'd go the Friends. So,
the Friends have committed to the New York Times?
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I say we fund the programming. All right, but I can't make a motion.
I made enough already.
I know, you have. Demetri, let's make a motion here.
I make a motion that we request allocate an annual budget of $1,000 from the MDT to offer for the adult programs.
Second?
With food.
Yes, this funding would pay for the programmers and other refreshments and materials that are involved in
Okay.
that.
And you second that,
I would
Chris?
second
Okay.
that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Can I
Also
make a-
unanimous.
Can I
Well
make a
done.
request?
Uh-oh.
Can we
Popcorn,
put
you want popcorn?
No, I don't. Can we put it on the budget next year?
That's what I would have liked to have done, yeah.
I don't care where the money actually comes
Comes
from,
from,
it'd just
but I
be
think
nice if it
it's-
was on the budget.
Yeah.
Sure thing.
All right, and the last thing is Veterans Day holiday. What
I think it's here.
Yeah.
what day is it?
It's November 11th,
Right, but what day of the week?
a Saturday. That's
Oh.
why I bring it up. So personnel bylaw says if a holiday falls on Saturday, we close on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we're the town department that's open on Saturday
Right.
too.
Right.
So normally, I guess in the past, we've closed on both Friday and Saturday.
Really?
Yes, that's what I hear. It's never happened while I was here, so I don't know.
Will you run that by me again?
So the town bylaw says that if a holiday falls on Saturday, the town department closes on the Friday before that.
Right.
Because most town departments are closed on Saturday anyway.
Right.
So they get the Friday off.
The town hall will be closed that Friday.
But the libraries are always open on Saturday, and the holiday actually falls on a Saturday. So we would like to close on both the Friday and the Saturday.
Friday in keeping
You
with
would-
the
you would
town's
like to-
bylaw.
It's staff, yeah.
Staff,
Yes.
staff wants.
Well, and the way that the policy's written, right, the town's bylaw
Right.
says you're closed on Friday. So there's really no getting around that.
Right,
And in honor of the veterans of our nation,
right.
we should, I believe, be closed on Saturday because that's when the actual holiday is observed.
Right.
Okay.
Well, if it's town policy, I don't see why we even have to worry about it. We're closed Friday and Saturday.
No, we're closed
No,
Friday.
we're closed Friday.
Town policy would have us
But
close on
Saturday
Friday,
is-
but and be open
And
on
Saturday is the actual day. So, my guess is most schools will be closed on that Friday as well.
I always-
But the schools aren't open on Saturday, so.
Correct. So, that's fine with me.
So,
Any thoughts on that?
I don't really like closing both days, but,
What's the pay ramifications?
no one's gonna get paid for it, they're gonna have to take vacation time.
Right. So anyone who's benefited would get that Friday as a holiday. But if anyone who has benefits works on that Saturday, then they would have to take a vacation day. And then everybody else, it wouldn't matter. I mean, they wouldn't get paid.
Okay.
Ellen?
It's the Friday, Saturday swap person that's gonna get affected. Right. So you're gonna have some people that are scheduled for Saturday because that's their scheduled day and they would normally have Friday off. They're gonna actually lose a day, right? Will we give them a floating holiday like we do in other
Yeah,
times? Maybe
that's
we could-
something else we
yeah,
do. We give
could give them a
floating.
floating holiday.
Meaning they can
Pick
take
another
any
day.
other day
Yeah,
off.
and we
Right.
do that a
So if
lot
they
of
work on
times.
that actual
Yeah.
day, you know, they would just take another day, which is fine.
Right, okay. No, I don't love the idea of being closed, actually think about it 3 days in a row, because we're not open on Sundays.
Right.
However, the town bylaw you can't get around.
Right.
And the idea of being closed on Veterans Day as an honorarium for what that holiday is designated for, I think is perfectly appropriate. And your staff, the staff, they would like that Saturday to be closed.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what does the highway department do? The dump's not gonna be open that Saturday,
I'm
but
not
the
sure what they
town
do.
says, according to the town bylaws, they should be,
I don't know.
so. Who do we talk to get the bylaw changed so that it actually reflects what should be happening?
Personnel committee.
Yeah, personnel committee.
And they would need to take any modifications to the bylaw to town meeting for townspeople to vote on for a carve-out provision for the library when holidays fall on Saturdays.
Well, it's not just the library, it's the transfer station, it's any department that would be open on Saturdays, right?
Is there one?
But those are union, don't forget, many of those. So they negotiate a different contract
Right.
than the personnel bylaw is to protect the non-union employees.
Right, but theoretically, the personnel bylaw is effectively supposed to be the contract, right? That's
Mhm.
why they put everything out there, so they haven't kept up with that part.
But police and fire, they're always on, so it's very different.
Right.
School is very different. Those are
Right.
all individually negotiated contracts. The personnel bylaw was really for the town employees to be on par with union
I
contracts.
understand that, what was the highway department all union?
Yep.
And the people at the transfer station?
They're fall under the highway department, I
Yeah.
believe. And you could ask Steve Venuti tomorrow, but.
Okay, I'll bring it up with the,
All right, so a motion relative to the Veterans Day holiday. The library will be closed on Friday, as per the town bylaw. Sam is asking whether we may also be closed on November 11th, which is Veterans Day, and he would like our approval for that.
I'm going to make a motion that the library be closed on November 11th, Saturday, in honor of Veterans Day.
I second it.
Any more discussion relative to Veterans Day?
so we're saying we're closing on the 10th and the 11th because.
No, the town is telling us we're closed on the 10th. Sam is asking if we can also be closed on the 11th. Is there more discussion? All right, so, all in favor of being closed on Saturday, November 11th?
Aye.
Opposed? And abstaining. Did you vote?
No, I didn't say anything.
Well, you can say yay, nay, or
Well,
abstention.
I don't like to see the library closed for 2 days either, but we can't get around, well, I don't count Sundays. But, you have to be closed on Friday, that's the law. And I suppose Saturday is the day. So, but you don't look like you like this either.
I don't work on Saturday anyway, so I get the day off either
I
way.
vote yes.
Okay, so we have David, Demetra, Chris, and Katie voting yes, and Mark has abstained. The motion passes. And I will point out that it's 2 Ds and a K. KK and DD were pro, M was A, and J did nothing.
question.
Yes, Henry?
'Cause I know what you're anxious to do, but I do not have it written down in here, the details of the, it's a scholarship. There was so much editing going on.
Oh, okay.
Does anybody have that?
Yeah, I will send it to you.
Okay, all right then.
All
That's
right.
great. The
Okay.
question is answered. Okay.
Terrific. There's nothing else on our agenda. Is there any parting thoughts, any pithy quotes we care to share for people who have powered through for 2 hours and 20 minutes with the library trustees? Tune in again on September 7th.
Wait.
What?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Who would like to adjourn?
I'll second that.
Oh, Mark seconds it. All in favor of adjourning our meeting? Aye. There's still cookies.